watched.
Yeah.
Anyways, hello everyone. Welcome to SEO UnMasked number 19. It's December 21st, 2017. As always, we are very happy to have you with us. It's the very last episode of the year. We'll be taking next week off, and we'll be back at it after New Year's. I'm Garrett Groff.
I'm Vin Deletto.
Steve Brownlee.
Yeah, so last episode of the year. I don't have a lot of big news. Do you guys?
No, it's been a really good year. SEO is still easy. I don't know what you guys are moaning about. Nothing's changed since like 2009.
Imagine. I wish.
D-Ribes 2009. Google that for some cool videos.
I just want to use the ALN network and rank all my sites in 2 weeks again. But 2017 has been pretty good for SEO.
Yeah.
I think the name of 2017 is the waiting game.
Yeah.
Everything is taking a whole lot longer than it used to.
Yeah, speaking of waiting game, I guess the case study site, a few more links have been indexed on it, but no movement yet. So
that density thing that I was talking about last week for Don't Tweet This, it actually is panning out quite well. All the pages that I tried that out on have popped up major this week.
nice.
We found the page that we were going to try that on because I thought I might have over-optimized it. It turns out I'd massively under-optimized it.
Oh, yeah.
So I felt like I was saying public relations like 4 million times, so I thought it must be like 9%, but it turned out it was like 0.4%. So one of our writers has been busy adding an additional 100 public relations to the article, so it's now 2.4%,
Well,
and we'll see how that.
That's
we'll
not
see how
very
that
natural.
goes.
I get a little cautious about when I feel like I need to increase the optimization. I'll usually look at the ratios for the currently ranked pages first and come in a little bit under that still, just in case.
Yeah.
But,
well, we don't really care about this page. It's just clearly it was under-optimized at 0.4%. A guide titled "What is Public Relations?" 0.4% is probably a tad low. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So we've bulked it up and see if that changes it. We didn't really care about that page, and we only built like 10 links to it or something. But it'd be kind of interesting to see if Vin's percentages are the new golden ratio, and then we can stick two fingers up at all those people that say there's no percentages anymore. Like his were all over, mine was massively under. He cut his down, and I bulked mine up to those exact numbers. And now we're all ranking. So you guys, I'm not saying there's an exact percentage, but I'm saying Vin might have got it if we're right.
Yeah,
we'll see in a couple.
I mean, I dropped that the coffee example I was talking about. It jumped another 40 spots 2 nights ago, and is approaching top 10 now. And then the new post that I posted fresh, it's already ranking top 10 for the target keyword. So it looks like it's working. But there also seems to be some kind of randomization as far as,
of course, there always is.
Some kind of throttling of target keywords for new posts, because there's some that were well under those ratios that I posted back in August and September, and they're still not on the board for their target keyword.
Well, I think what happened was the Google engineers were watching the show last week.
And they just happened to agree.
I would feel honored, man. I would feel honored.
Vin ended a spot on. We need to tune up the band to get everyone else in line.
I'll still abuse it as much as possible until it doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, we have about 50 to 100 viewers a week, and 40 of them work for Google, so we have quite a lot of sway here.
Yeah, it's definitely something interesting.
By Deep Crawl this week. They paid me $17,000 to wear this T-shirt. If you want to get on,
do you wear that shirt every week?
I wear it once every 4 weeks or something, just to keep the brand consistent. I'm hoping they'll pay me my $17,000 because I've invoiced them 3 times now and they haven't paid yet. So I'm sure the check's in the post.
Was that an ungagged grab?
Brighton SEO. I didn't even grab it. Mark grabbed it and made me wear it. And I thought, well, I've started, so I'll finish. So you'll see this T-shirt until I get another free T-shirt given to me by someone. Actually, we'll have the T-shirts for the 24 hours of SEO that Garrett's doing. So
yeah, I was just going to say, we got some cool people locked in so far, just a few, but we got Mike Blumenthal, kind of like a pretty well-respected local guy that runs a pretty nice blog. He's going to be with us right away in the morning. January 25th, I set the date, so clear schedules. I believe it's a Thursday. Steve's locked in for an hour, outreach Q&A, all sorts of good stuff. We got Zach Hayes, Reddit SEO tips, how he's leveraging Reddit to boost his cryptocurrency sites and all that fun stuff. Craig Rode is going to be joining us about NFC cards. If you're not familiar with those like me, it's kind of a way, they're like the size of a business card, and Bluetooth devices can pick them up. Like if you're at a restaurant, you can have like a coupon pop up on all your patrons' phones or some shit once they join the Wi-Fi, or I don't know exactly. He's going to talk about that and how he's using that with his clients to... It's outside the SEO realm, obviously, but that's something you can definitely add as a value adder to your clients. That's all we got locked in so far. I think, Vin, you going to do something?
Yeah, I think I'm going to do how to create a content outline from a topic or a keyword through semantic analysis, creating your headers, basically how to instruct writers to get exactly what you want out of it and stuff like that. Usually one of those outlines takes me about 30 minutes on my own, so I think that'll be a good hour of content right there.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Should be fun.
Yeah.
I haven't decided if
I've got a handful of people I'm reaching out to also, so there's going to be more participants.
Oh yeah, I've got 5 or 6 people that are interested. They're just not committing just yet, but I think we're gonna have some really big names on.
I think anytime there's a new thing, a new event, people are a little hesitant to fit their tone.
Well, it is for the kids though at the
St. Jude's.
St. Jude's.
And then
it's a good cause.
We kind of just briefly discussed the idea of a raffle. Maybe if you buy the T-shirt that we're going to be using to donate the money, you get entered in a raffle, and if some of the guest speakers want to throw in an hour consulting, or if we threw in, I don't know exactly how we're going to do it, but you might be able to win some stuff if you donate. So
cool, man. It's very fun.
See how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, one lucky raffle entry, it's $1,000 to enter, and one of the prizes is 10 T-shirts. So you could really out with the T-shirts there.
That's gonna be fun. I like trying new stuff out like that, especially for charity. Are we gonna pre-record our tutorials, or is that all gonna be live?
No, it's live with Garrett. So Garrett will be deteriorating gradually during the 24-hour process.
And Sam Romain just messaged he's committed for his online reputation management, so we'll have him as a guest speaker.
Excellent.
Cool, man. I want to see how big how long your beard grows in 24 hours, man.
Well, I just trimmed it 2 days ago. I didn't shave it, obviously, but
did you mail me your trimmings?
No, I could get them out of the bottom of the sink if you want.
That's actually on your business. People in Minnesota are going to be growing their beards and sending trimmings to baby-faced New Yorkers to this country beard on the East Coast. So
that's going to be the new glitter bomb, or dicks by mail, or something like that. So what do we got? Man? We got some news here.
Yeah, rapid price.
News, yes, of course. Let me get all set up here. SEO by the Sea. I've never read this blog until today, but he has a little piece on Google giving less weight to reviews of places you stop visiting. I just skimmed through this article, but I noticed there was some worry about Android phones tracking you. So if you were frequently going to a restaurant or something and left a review, it might be weighted more versus you went to a restaurant once and left a review and never went back. I don't know, something like that. Is that the gist of it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's some kind of. It looks like there's like a time decay on your review. So if you posted it a month ago, and you don't go back for 6 months, then your review is going to be weighted less than
if you're a
keep
regular
on-
and
if
you're
you're a
always,
regular.
then you leave a good review, then Google can infer that you left a good review and you still love it because you keep going back.
Which is that's a logical premise.
Yeah.
I mean that totally makes sense. What's a little off-putting is the fact that if you have an Android phone, they're just using your data
Right.
unbeknownst to you.
Well, I mean, it's pretty well known to you since
Yeah.
I've gone back
Well-
to SpyDroid. It's constantly telling me, like, wherever you are, it's giving you notifications like there's traffic in your area. Oh, that restaurant you go to is busy. You know, all kinds of just random notifications about things it knows about you. It's like, I don't like this one anymore. I hold my Windows phone back that didn't know anything or really do anything.
Yeah, except make phone calls.
Phone calls and email was all that thing could do. It didn't know anything about anything. Barely worked. It's the kind of phone I want.
I don't know. How do you think this is going to affect local SEO agencies? I mean,
It's what's going to affect anyone that was doing fake reviews. Like if you're doing
To-
it right,
To
you're
what
getting
degree
good-
do you think this will actually impact? Like, let's say, because obviously not everyone uses Android, so how much weight can they actually put into this versus just...
well, they'll know if the review is left on your Google account on your Android phone or not.
Yeah,
They
but it can't have that.
Like-
That review can't have the same weight as me and my iPhone.
It might give it a higher weight because they don't
That's what
trust
I'm
iPhone
asking.
users. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
it's probably just a weighting based on the amount of people that use Android compared to the total amount of smartphone users. You know,
It's like
They do it that
87%, isn't it? So
it's 87% are on Android now.
something like
What?
well, I think it is
It
in
can't be
Europe. I
that
don't know
high.
what it is in America, but
Holy shit! I'm still on my iPhone, man. I just haven't.
It's a woman's phone. What a song are you
Shut
two
the
for?
fuck up.
iPhones
I-
have
I-
35%
I-
market share in the States.
What is it?
iPhones have 35% of the market share here.
So 65 still. So I mean, Google's in a pretty good position to just ignore everything except Android data if they wanted to, and they'd still have accurate local data, wouldn't they? So
Sure.
65% is plenty to make your decision on which reviews to trust, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna go with an iPhone next time. I just keep getting it with my upgrades because it's what I've been using for like 6 years, but I'm not really happy with the last couple phones I've had. So.
Are you able to opt out of that kind of tracking on your phone, or is it just if you agree to the terms of service and you're in?
I don't know.
You can kind of change a lot on an app by app basis. Probably there's some things you can't opt out of. You can opt
Yeah,
out.
but just the phone's GPS tracker itself is all
Yeah,
you
but
need.
then Google works out your location from like your Wi-Fi connections, and
Yeah.
it's kind of, who knows how much you can really turn off.
Yeah, I think I might look at Sam switched from an iPhone to a Note 8. Note 8 is Samsung, right?
Yeah, that's a really good device.
I was thinking about it. Maybe I'll do that next. I was actually going to buy the iPhone X for Christmas, but
That thing looks like shit.
what's that?
That thing looks like a piece of shit for the money.
You know, I really have a hard time justifying personally spending money on phones because I don't use my phone for anything unless I'm traveling for work. It's like calling and texting, and then maybe the GPS.
Yeah.
And
I feel like I use my phone like I should be using a tablet, but I've never.
Well, that's
really
what
found-
everyone does now. That's why tablet sales are flat because
Yeah.
everyone's just. That's why I got the new BlackBerry because it's got the keyboard and you can actually type on it. Because I have a habit of trying to write like 5-paragraph emails on the touchscreen, and that was a bit painful. And now it takes like 1 minute.
All those BlackBerry users that were like years late to join the smartphone revolution are pissed now because they can go back and have their keyboard.
Yeah, I'm pleased to be back with a keyboard. Although I didn't have a BlackBerry keyboard before. It was the Motorola Dext or something. It slid up sideways instead of the little BlackBerry one at the bottom. But
Yeah.
same kind of thing. It was. I wrote a whole blog post on that Dext thing. You'd never try and write a blog post on your iPhone screen. That would be agony.
I remember the very first smartphone. It was the Sidekick, right? You guys remember that?
Yeah.
People had it in high school, and it was like the equivalent of like dial-up internet. But it blew my mind. And I feel
I just loved when the first gambling apps came out on WAP, and you could play sports bets while you're in the lecture theatre listening to the professor. You can get the live game updates, get your bet on. I was like, this is the future. You can gamble while you work.
Yep. You can still do it, just in a more shady way. Well,
no,
you can do
it looks beautiful now. It's better now. You can watch the live video of the game inside the sportsbook app and bet in play. I mean, it's a whole new world out there for you if you want to gamble. There's going to be an affiliate link to our gambling site at the bottom if you can click that.
I can't wait for the U.S. to legalize online gambling once again.
Yeah. I mean, it should be compulsory, really. They shouldn't just legalize it. They should actively encourage it. It's a good way to take money from the poor people and spend it on important taxpayer projects.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do tax the fuck out of it. Which is amazing to me that they don't tax it in England.
They don't tax the players.
Right.
But, everyone loses, so they do tax the players. They just take it off the company instead, so the players don't feel like they're being taxed.
Yeah.
So, you guys seen any increasing prices that net neutrality has been repealed?
I've seen some people complaining on Facebook that the day after, like yesterday night or this morning or something, Infinity prices went up, or Xfinity, whatever it's called, and Comcast went up. I use a small provider, so I don't think I'm going to see anything, but
it's been minimal or almost non-existent.
We're not going to be affected in Europe, so
yeah. I think it was a bunch of fear mongering.
Well, there was no net. I mean, how long's there been net neutrality? Like since 2009 or
2015, 2 years.
Jesus, I mean, so there's been no net neutrality the whole internet. I mean, who cares? Like some law that existed for 2 years is gone. What difference does it make?
It's just been a giant echo chamber.
I'm really on the fence about it because I think everyone should have some sort of free and open access to internet. But regardless of what you think about these big media companies charging the shit out of you, they kind of have the right to charge whatever they want, and you can go to a different provider if you're not happy with it. So
yeah, I mean, I suppose the South Park joke is though that you guys have no competition. Like you pretend it's a free market, but like if you're in a small town, there's like 2 cable companies.
Well, I mean, things are getting a lot better in America. Like using Minnesota as an example, U.S. Internet is a very small company, but they also have the fastest fiber network in the world to residential areas, and that's in Minnesota. I use a company called Jaguar. They're very small. They maybe serve a quarter of the state. They have fiber rolling out that's cheaper than I would be paying for a major cable company to have a slower speed, and I think things aren't going to be as bad as people think. And there is going to be more competition.
Will be fine. I think people just panic about everything these days. We're in an age of panic. Like Google does like 500 updates a year, and there's people panic at every single one.
Yeah. Sam was wondering how net neutrality could affect SEO or digital marketing. I don't really know that it would. I mean, unless there's
it'll affect enterprise players that use a lot of bandwidth, because presumably at some point they're going to end up either not on a package, so people have to pay more to see their content. Like if you're Vimeo or someone like that. Who's the next one down from Vimeo that loads of SEOs use? Wistia. If you're like a Wistia type player and you use a lot of bandwidth, suddenly you're never going to be on people's residential packages. Like if Comcast does a package of popular YouTube type channels, it's going to be.
Sam has a good point about I have seen some threats by cable companies saying we're going to be rolling out our own Comcast search engine. And the only way you're ever going to rank is if you pay us, because we're just going to block Google, or we're going to block Bing, and you have to use our search engine. And
well, Google's just going to pay them they pay to be in Firefox again now. They outbid.
Well, Firefox is dying. And they've done it to themselves.
No, but they even on Firefox, it was worth them paying a fortune. They pay iPhone a fortune. Apple, I should say, not iPhone. Pay Apple a fortune. You know, they'll just pay them off to get premium search positioning. Like that's the cost of them running businesses, paying for premium search placement. So
I like Jason's.
I don't think it's a threat to Google's dominance.
I like Jason's point. That's a pretty good point. If the ISPs start messing with blocking the search engine, what's stopping Google from just rolling out their own fiber service? And they'd probably...
Well, they are already, aren't they?
Yeah.
They are. What do they call that? The dark wire or dark fiber or something? They already own like all the old fiber lines that were out of use. All they have to do is put it into service at this point.
Yeah, so what was the whole deal like a couple decades ago? Like a lot of fiber did get installed, but all the municipalities
when I was in first grade, we had a representative from the cable company come in and do a presentation on fiber, and they showed us like, you know, the wire splayed out and everything that was in it, and it was all translucent and all that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's what Verizon is using now. I mean, Verizon's on fiber. But I think there was a lot of it laid out that was never used.
Loads of companies went bust.
Yeah.
I owned stock in one of the ones that ceased to trade. I forget what the company's name was now, but one of my many smart investments. If I ever give you a stock tip on the show, do the opposite. Short it if I'm buying, buy it if I'm shorting. You'll do all right. But yeah, quite a lot of them went out of business. We had a load go out of business over here, so there was that's how we ended up with Virgin Broadband. They bought all the old fiber and stuff that was knocking around from old networks that went out of business.
And the rumor is, you know, that Google a couple of years ago bought that like $40 million building in New York City, and the rumor is that underneath that building is like the hub of all that fiber that was laid but never put into use. So. I think it's just a matter of time before they roll out Google Fiber. Yeah.
I'd also read some rumors that besides those companies going out of business, that like municipalities had locked in a lot of contracts with typical coax providers in like the 90s and the 2000s, where somehow they would get counties to agree that no one can use the fiber, even if it's already installed. You know, we're going to pay this much to have our services be exclusive. And even these companies that probably did invest that money putting the fiber in and then went bankrupt because they couldn't sell to anybody. And I think that's why I remember reading U.S. Internet here is getting so big. Because somehow they managed to ride it out or something. I don't know if they bought the line. I don't know. I guess I don't know enough to comment on it, but it's really interesting what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, so it makes sense what Vin's saying. I mean, Google's the kind of company that's got the bankroll and the kind of forward-looking business model where they could buy a whole bunch of fiber that they can't use for 10 years, knowing that in 10 years when those contracts are up, they can use it. That's the kind of investment they can make given their business. So makes a lot of sense that they would be the buyer rather
Jared
than someone
says
else
that it would be illegal. But let's be honest, shit like that happens every day.
Yeah.
Look what the unions do in construction and.
Yeah, but you also have to remember just basic economic principle. If something is too expensive, people just won't buy it, and we'll be fine. Like I said in the chat, it wasn't an issue prior to 2 years ago. It's not going to be an issue going forward. There might be a little shake-up until things.
I think it'll definitely affect enterprise, some enterprise businesses, but I don't think it's going to be something any of our current viewers need to be massively concerned about in the short term, and maybe not even the enterprise people either ever. So I wouldn't worry too much until something bad actually happens.
Yep, exactly. Anyway. We got some more news, I think.
Yeah. So, every week we always seem to talk about how there was an update the previous Thursday, Friday-ish. There has been some chatter that there might actually be a somewhat legit update about people that are abusing the shit out of keyword permutations. Apparently, Barry over at the Roundtable called it the Maccabee update, and Mac Cuts and some other people had some fun, where it's actually confirmed that they didn't confirm the update, but they confirmed that Barry named an update. So
he named it Maccabees.
yeah, yeah, and it just seems where people were just Barry's examples are.
Let's describe a keyword permutation in the first place. So keyword permutation would be the keyword plus location, right? So hot dogs in New York, hot dogs in Minnesota, hot dogs in California.
Well, the example they give in the article is like Minnesota skiing, Minnesota skiing winter, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
just endless permutations of the same kind of thing.
So it's almost like thin content. But, I've seen a lot of big businesses do this legitimately, like in the drug rehab space or in the, nursing home space. Like they all have individual pages for different service locations that they service.
Yeah, if there's a genuine reason for it, I think it'll be fine. I mean, you think about like when you search for air flights or something, you want the specific Skyscanner results for what you're looking for. You don't just ever want to be directed to the Skyscanner homepage and have to type it all in again. Like if you've typed in, cheap flights Minneapolis to Los Angeles, the Skyscanner link you get needs to be their page that ranks for their Los Angeles, Minneapolis to Los Angeles flights. So I think in legitimate cases it's going to be fine, but I think if you've overdone it, and it's like everything, if you're taking the piss, you're going to get some kind of negative impact in search. Yeah. If it's what customers would want, you're going to be fine. So it's just the same common sense shit we always talk about, I think.
I also think that Barry kind of wrote this blog post prematurely because it doesn't really seem like he has a handle on what exactly it is. He only evaluated 100 different sites, and he said it could be keyword permutations he saw affected, but it could be heavy at affiliate sites, or and then there was a portion of the 100 sites where he just couldn't figure out what it was. So I
think with the Roundtable, you have to remember the purpose of the site is just to report on forum chatter in the SEO industry. So his job is just to report immediately when there's forum chatter. Mm-hmm. So that's always going to limit the depth of the analysis and stuff like that.
I was just looking through some of the comments that people are leaving, and there are a few people that mention review sites again. I think we might have talked about it a couple weeks that a lot of people with review sites and thin content were getting nailed. I think it just translated into more, you had a shitty site and you got devalued again.
Yeah. I've actually seen a lot of it, and I'm part of like some Facebook groups for courses that teach people how to build niche sites and authority sites. And it's almost like cookie cutter at this point. And a lot of them are seeing like 25% drops in traffic since this update. But I mean, it's just because they're all doing the same thing, and it's 95% of their site is affiliate commercial pages. We saw in March Fred hit for the first time, and everybody took a bath. And this just might be an update on Fred or an update plus something else. We don't really know.
Well, we've seen people penalized for this before. The old nonsense of, if you were doing, vitamin C tablets, so that I don't talk about anyone I actually saw their site. Like, buy vitamin C now, cheap vitamin C's now with an S after the C. Buy vitamin C spelt wrong, and just all that. We've seen people penalized for it before. This is just the next iteration where Google can understand things that looked different to it before that are really just another variation of the same shit that they used to be penalizing us for before. So I think it's just it's always a moving tide, and if you're always trying to be like right in front of the tide, you're just kind of picking up pennies in front of the steamroller, to use the old stock market saying for that kind of behavior. You're going to make a little bit of money until the tide, or in this case the steamroller, rolls over your fingers picking up the penny, where if you're just a mile down the road well away from the steamroller, you've got a lot more time to adapt to these kind of changes. So
Yeah.
Craig
But you
sent me
know,
a link
Go ahead.
from the search engine land. Title is Google confirms mid-December search ranking algorithm updates having to do with not having schema data, mobile SERPs, and relying on doorway pages. So doorway pages would be these permutation shit.
I'm getting a page knockdown for that link you posted.
Oh, let me try it again. Oops. Try that.
Cool. Yeah.
But
Still not done, but whatever, go ahead.
okay, well, either way, that'd be interesting to me why you would get hit hard just because you're not using schema, unless there was a bunch of people using schema that hadn't got an increase and all of a sudden they did. But that'd be a lot. That'd have to be a lot of sites that were using schema and all of a sudden got a bump because of it.
I mean, I'm not using schema on either of my main sites, and I'm doing fine.
Yeah, we only use schema on client sites where they're paying us to do everything totally properly, and then obviously you do it for every 1-2% or whatever to make sure they're fully done. But on our own sites, I don't think we have any schema, hardly at all.
Yeah. I think the consensus here is that we need more data and information about what's going on with this update. But, you know, this
well, I don't know. I mean, how many people in the chat were hit by it? I mean, it hasn't affected any of us.
Yeah, I've seen it, like I said, I've seen it in the Facebook groups, but it's mostly like kids, or not kids, but newbies that aren't as sophisticated or have the experiences as some of us. They're like, well, why is my traffic tanking 25-30%? And they don't really know why. It's probably just more FRED than anything. But the keyword permutations thing is surprising to me because I never thought that type of thing would ever get hit. If it was, like you said, if it was being done legitimately.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess the final comment I have is tracking it up to lower quality sites getting suppressed.
Yeah.
Whether what your definition on low quality may be, that obviously varies, but it's Google's translation of it anyways, I think.
Cool.
But yeah, losing my voice today. Oh, next in the news, working dogs people buy when canines are selling.
So dogs are the new cats is the marketing tip of the week. We're calling it the Minnesota Country Dog Update.
You heard it here first.
Yep. But yeah, just interesting seeing the stats on how effective some of these just crazy dog campaigns have been, and people are running influencer accounts where it's basically just pictures of their dog with brand products.
Yeah.
And making a shitload of money. So just kind of an interesting thing. I mean, I think if you're in the space where you can use some of these kind of influencers, and they're a similar price to someone who's just a person, you might want to consider paying the dog, I guess, is the tip. Obviously, if they're 10 times more expensive, then, you know, buy 10 people and you'll get more reach, you know. But if the dog's the same price, then...
I think there's a good insight here. I mean, a good example of a dog influencer is what they cite for Urban Decay, which is a makeup company. And it says the advertising campaign was basically using dogs to talk about how they don't test on animals. And it did very well for them.
Mm.
So for me, this just conceptually, this is just kind of like the whole thing, like, you know, using naked girls or half-naked girls in your advertisements, and that sells. It's basically just, it goes beyond sex sells, and you can find other things that people are super interested in and exploit it to grab their attention and push a brand.
Yeah, and I think it's not surprising, obviously, as things have become more politically correct, that brands who are sensitive to the damage they might do to their brand if they put a load of semi-naked models on their content, they can pretty safely pay as many of these dog influencers as they want, and it's just cute dog stuff.
Yeah.
It's I mean, give it 5 years, there'll be something wrong with that as well. But you know.
Yeah. I mean, my point is like maybe we can get, you know, put our thinking caps on and figure out, you know, if it's not displaying naked women, if it's not displaying dogs or cats, what else can we do? Similarly,
you need to find Billy the writing dog.
Yeah.
Mascot.
Exactly. Pretty cool. I like to see that this is so successful for them. Half because I love dogs and half because it's really interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was a super cool article, so definitely worth a proper read, everyone, I think.
Yeah, sorry, apparently the links aren't working in the chat.
It was just that Search Engine Land. If you go to the homepage of Search Engine Land, the article's right there.
Sam said all the links are 404.
Oh, what?
Jared said like YouTube is adding some characters to the end of it after I submit it.
Oh, it's never happened before, I don't think.
I'll put the links in the description. I guess I can do that while we're live, right?
Yeah, that works. That sucks.
Anyways, Microsoft taps AI and Reddit to make Bing smarter. What's going on there?
Well, it's just their. I guess it's similar to what Google did with their knowledge graph and with Wikipedia. They're just looking for more sources of data to tune up their AI and to tune up their machine learning and to improve the search results. Except they're going to be partnering with Reddit, which I thought was a spurious source of additional AI feeding data, perhaps.
Well, it's kind of like buying a 55-gallon drum of baby oil. You just don't know how you're going to use it.
Oh, I'll get through it. I mean, sorry, yeah, I agree.
Oh my God, you guys suck. Let's take. Anyway, Microsoft AI. What I thought was really cool about this is how they're using the AI to pull data from multiple sites, so they got different viewpoints on the same topic. It's interesting to see how they can use AI to, I guess, weigh different arguments, but that's a new one for me for the AI stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's having used Windows Phone, the one thing I will say is that Cortana, as far as I can tell, is significantly ahead of the competitors in terms of what it can do. Obviously, there's just no one using it, so they haven't got much of a showcase for their capabilities. But Microsoft's being quite forward-looking at the minute, looking at, obviously they're competing with everyone else on AI, but they've got cool toys like the HoloLens and all this augmented reality stuff that's in Microsoft Labs right now. They're obviously fighting with Amazon in the cloud space. There's a lot of places where Microsoft can be really strong in the future. And if they have some wins here with some of these labs experiments, I think they're doing the right kind of things to move forward and actually give themselves an opportunity to win market share when the next big iteration of the future comes. Like, I don't think anyone imagines there's going to be a Microsoft phone that wins now. I mean, they bought Nokia. They had the easiest to use operating system compared with Android and the iPhone. It was more powerful than Android. The live tiles were amazing, but they just couldn't. And they had one of the best phone manufacturers that had existed before, and they still couldn't get any market share. So I think, having failed with all of that behind it, I can't see them having another run at, we're going to try and become another mobile phone manufacturer. But I think with all of this stuff going on, it's going to be quite interesting to see when the next big change happens and more virtual reality stuff's around. I mean, I know we're talking 10 years away, but I think a company that's been around as long as Microsoft can realistically look to where they are in 10 years with these kind of toys and these kind of research projects. Although I was a bit taken aback at the choice of Reddit. I'll say that again, because I think that was... I'm not really sure. I mean, I guess journalists, to make a serious point though, journalists use Reddit. I mean, that's one of the things Redditors really get angry about, is how a lot of journalists just jump on Reddit, skim through the topics they write about, grab something that a Redditor's found, and then write up a news article with kind of just a quick mention that maybe it came from this Redditor, Whereas
But
really,
you're generally bearish on Reddit itself, right? You think it's like kind of outdated at this point?
it's yeah, it's a little bit outdated, but it's still got a huge community. I just think it's because of the way the moderation is and how echo chambery each individual part of it is. It's difficult to see it as a balanced. Whereas Wikipedia was, you can argue that it was too safe on its moderation and too much stuff got deleted. It was too Western centric because most of the editors and writers were American or at least English speaking. There's lots of flaws with Wikipedia, but at least it was mostly trying to be a body of correct information.
Yeah.
I don't think if you're training your AI, you can necessarily assume that Reddit is trying to be a body of correct information. That was my point. Not really so much about the fact that Reddit looks a bit outdated or whatever. It's just that I'd love to know what they're specifically doing. That would be kind of really interesting to me.
Yeah.
I look forward to when they release some of their research papers in sort of 6 months, telling us some of the stuff they've been up to.
One of your fans, Steve, is waiting for your baby oil. Do you have a whole 55-gallon drum of baby oil?
Well, no, I haven't got it yet. I just said that if I did have it, I'd gotta get.
I wonder if you can buy a whole drum of it.
A 55-gallon.
That's what I'm getting you guys for Christmas, Steve. I need your address.
Passion Lubes, natural water-based lubricant, 55-gallon drum. Oh, Alibaba has it.
All right, so if one of you guys wants to sponsor that item as one of the raffle items on the 24 hours of SEO, just leave it in the messages. Garrett will get in touch with you to arrange the payment, and we'll get it on the raffle list.
Garrett, are you using Windows at all or no? Steve, I know you're not.
Yeah, I use Windows.
I have Windows on my Surface tablet when I'm traveling.
I have the
servers. Do you guys use Cortana at all, or was that the first thing you turned off when you got the new device?
I don't use it, but I also haven't turned it off, so I don't know. I didn't know you could turn it off.
Well, when Windows 10 came out, there was that whole privacy issue where everybody was so worried. Well, I mean, there was a lot of privacy issues, period, where like you couldn't access the Wi-Fi if you didn't like enter your Facebook password or a lot of crazy shit.
None of those things are true.
No, I went through the whole thing and I turned them off myself. But
you could. I don't even have a Facebook account. Like, obviously, you can use Wi-Fi without putting your Facebook password in.
That was just one example. But I think Jared showed me that article too. There's a whole. I think it's on Reddit actually. There's a whole thing to disable all the security.
It's the same as whenever you install anything. Like, you always click the install manually if you're using Windows and pick all your options. Otherwise, you get the Ask Jeeves toolbar at the top of your Firefox. Oh, you've downloaded this video player. Have Ask Jeeves.
Yeah, but Cortana is the first thing front and center on my start menu, and I haven't used it once.
You know, Craig, I have not seen the new Star Wars movie yet, and I don't know.
Let's not talk about it, please.
I don't know if I can stomach going to even see it from what I've heard, but that's all I'm going to say.
Thank you.
I know all the spoilers. Would you like me to tell you something?
Oh, come on.
I'm only speaking.
What's next up on the list here, Steve? Something that Forbes?
Is it the Forbes one? Let me just quickly get it up.
Yeah, you guys can talk.
Oh yeah. This is so we all know we spoke about this. I guess 2 months ago about Amazon and people doing fake reviews and using bots and fake credit cards and all that kind of stuff. It seems like some people have taken it to a whole other level now. They're actually sending fake packages to real people now to get the fake reviews. So that was pretty intense. I mean, I know scammers will do just about anything to get fake reviews, but this just made me laugh because it's just so insane.
So the term is called brushing, and I've heard about this before on Amazon, but in this example, in this Forbes article, what's been going on is, Americans have been receiving packages from China with just like junk in them. And the example in this was like cheap Chinese-made like hair ties or something like that. And what's going on is they're scraping Alibaba or what's the platform? AliExpress.
Yeah.
For legitimate user information, then creating new accounts with that same information and buying their own products so they can review the products positively and game the system so they can rank higher within the system. But in order for this to work, they actually have to ship something to the legitimate person in America. So all these people are getting packages daily full of just crap from China. So it's just kind of crazy, but I think there's been a lot of talk and a lot of people have been saying that, big e-commerce platforms like AliExpress, Amazon, eBay, and what have you can't be gamed, but this is proving that it's possible. And it's completely shady. And in this case with AliExpress, it can't be stopped because it's a Chinese company shipping to America, so there's no real way to stop the practice.
The cynical internets over at Hacker News believe that Amazon will do nothing about this because all these wonderful reviews encourage people to buy more stuff on Amazon.
Yeah. So, I mean, this article only calls out AliExpress, but I think we all know that it's happening on Amazon and other big.
There were quite a lot of people on Hacker News discussing the Amazon situation. It seems like it's the same.
Yeah, you'll see a new brand page pop up on Amazon, and 2 weeks later they have hundreds upon hundreds of reviews, and that's that would be a great product if that was real, but it's not. And
yeah, I mean, with the best will in the world, we know that Garrett hasn't grown 847 beards since the 1st of December, but we've got 847 positive reviews on Minnesota Country Beards on Amazon.com right now. 4 or 5 star. I mean,
and there's no way that a 55-gallon drum of baby oil has like 300 reviews. It's just not going to happen. But yeah, the term is brushing. And it exists. And if you're a scammer, you can probably figure it out. But for now,
on the farm we buy drums of oil for the tractors and stuff. Should I ask my Northland lubricant sales rep if I can get a 55-gallon drum of baby oil on the next shipment?
Yeah, please. Please do that.
Well, when your beard's short like that, it's fine. But when it gets longer, I imagine it gets itchy. You'd go through a 55-gallon drum of baby oil pretty quickly on just keeping it soft.
I wonder.
How do you guys think an e-commerce platform combats this? Because these scammers are legitimately making fake people on paper. They're buying the product with the fake persona, with a real credit card and real bank information behind it, and they're just shipping the product to whoever or to themselves, and then they're able to leave a verified review. So how is Amazon supposed to stop that?
I think the same way Google stops you running like X rumor now, because you could say the same thing. Or, how are you supposed to stop it? You have all these real links. They're on actual sites. There's machine learning stuff that they could invest in if they wanted to. I mean, loads of platforms where spam is more of a threat to their actual, like when the spam makes you more money, there's less of a motivation for you as a company to have a panic and spend $5 billion fixing it. But with the amount of money they've got, they could reduce it enormously with machine learning. I mean, the same way credit card companies look for fraud, and it's annoying the occasional time someone legitimately is trying to buy something from your website. But the times that you don't end up with a $5,000 chargeback for 50 links that you already built, it's super nice that the credit card companies have all these advanced detection stuff in place. So I think it's just going to become a point where small e-commerce stores, they're going to be able to manually vet their reviews and keep an eye on their vendors. But a big store like Amazon, you're going to have to rely on machine learning and invest a good chunk of money in, because at some point people will lose trust. Like if you keep ordering things and they're always shit, which hasn't happened yet. I mean, most of the time you order something from Amazon and it is what you expect it to get. But if it deteriorates where you're getting stuff and it's not what you wanted, it's going to start affecting Amazon's reputation, and then I think they would be more aggressive about dealing with it than if it's not really a big problem, which at the moment I don't think it is a big problem.
Yeah, Amazon in particular, I know that they actually hire a third-party company to vet their reviews, and that's all the company does. It just vets, online reviews. So, I mean, if this shit is passing their watchful eye, I think.
Well, it's volume, isn't it? I mean, like you said, one product can have hundreds of reviews.
What if Amazon did some sort of incentive where they'll give you a $50 gift certificate if you come forward and say, yeah, I received these hair scrunchies. I didn't order them. And then they kind of like categorize a bunch of people that they've had this happen to. And then like they reward you for reporting it. And then they just shut down that seller.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I imagine that would be very powerful.
When you're a seller on Amazon,
like a spam trap email box, isn't it?
I've never sold anything on Amazon. If you're selling on Amazon, do you have to enter like your tax ID and everything? Where?
Yeah. So what these scammers are doing, Garrett, is they're white labeling or private labeling products and creating their own brand name. But they're creating like 5 different brand names at once and creating 5 different tax IDs. So they're creating 5 brand pages on Amazon. So just in case 3 of them get shut down, they still have 2 left that are passing the.
The problem Amazon's got's the same problem Google had with the UK payday loans market. There was so much money to be made. Spammers would happily set up a new company every single week if it meant they could make £7 million for that week when they ranked before they got wiped out, and then just keep going. And there was like 100 of them all doing it, fighting it out for the millions a day. And Amazon's the same position. If you can get those number 1, 2, 3 slots on Amazon for the product searches, it's worth it to you to just keep registering new companies in different states, different locations, different names, because you can make so much money before they catch you. I can't imagine they catch people quickly enough that they can't make a lot of money.
Yeah, I think from a consumer standpoint, for myself personally, I only buy products on Amazon that say ships from and sold by Amazon.com. Anything that's like fulfilled by Amazon or sold by a third party, I'm a little bit more skeptical, unless I can clearly tell that the product is legitimate. But for me, I usually just stick to the products actually sold by Amazon.
Jason in the chat has a good idea. He said, match the credit card zip code to the delivery zip code, and the review only counts if they match. So even if I bought someone a gift, then my review wouldn't really have any weight. But
I can tell you right now that that's already been worked out, and the scammers know how to get around that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep. But that one's easy because that's the one everyone was using to scam Full Tilt Poker.
Yeah.
That's how Full Tilt got gimped for quite a lot of money by people who never had the money on the card in the first place.
It was never your money.
We didn't.
Bottom line, there's some shady shit going on these e-commerce sites, and just proceed with caution. I mean, usually I think Amazon, in particular, if you get scammed or something like that, you can. They're pretty good with taking care of you. The customer service.
Amazon customer service to date is fantastic.
Yeah. Although their Prime shipping guarantees aren't being fulfilled too well these days, but
to step around this holiday.
So there's a rumor it's going to be permanent. It's no longer the same guarantee. It's going to be a guarantee of once it leaves our warehouse, you'll have it in 2 days. But they're no longer guaranteeing that they're actually going to bust their ass and get it out in a day.
Yeah.
It might sit there for a week.
So then there's no. I guess if the shipping is still free or included in your membership, it's still.
I mean, but Amazon has it all rolled into their pricing. That $70 a year that they charge you or whatever it is like just on top.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, loads of stuff on Amazon is the same price as it is on like every retail store, e-commerce store, and especially if it's a bigger ticket item. Obviously, on cheap crap, you're paying more to Amazon because you're getting it quickly.
Yeah. in the larger scheme of things, it's not really that big of a deal. I mean,
No.
remember when we were kids and we had to go to the mall?
Yeah.
We had to go this
Or
place
like,
and that place.
if you actually ordered something and it, like,
shit.
if you got it in 2 weeks, if you ordered something online, that was like a miracle.
That was awesome. Yeah. I would get my allowance. I would get $20 a week, and I would wait until Friday, and I would go to the CD store. It's a Sam Goody.
Yeah.
And buy one CD for like $22 or something like that. So
that's actually it's an interesting point around the expectation. Because I was watching Rory Sutherland talk, and he was talking about a campaign he did for an insurance company, and they hired him to help fix the problem they had where they were taking too long to mail people's claim checks out. Like they were taking 8 days or something, and people were constantly bombarding the call center like, why haven't I got my check yet? Why haven't I got my check yet? So they were going to spend like £100 million on improving the speed to get them out in 6 days. And he was like, no. What we're going to do is you're going to have your call center staff tell people that they're going to be out in 14 days, and they're going to get them in 8, and they're going to be super excited. And you're not going to spend any of that money. So if Amazon just was saying, oh, it's going to be 3-day delivery during this Christmas period when we're really busy, and you got it in 2, you'd be super excited because you're like, oh, wow, they were quick.
Yeah.
But it's because they haven't adjusted the expectation in advance, and you're still expecting it the next day or whatever, you're thinking, oh, wait a minute, why is this a day late now? And you're getting annoyed. If they'd said, oh, it'll be 4 days, but it's still free and it's still going to be quicker than the post, and you got it in 3 or 2, you'd be like, oh, wow, that was quick. So it's because they set the expectations wrong that it's winding you up.
The term is under promise and over deliver, right? That's what it is. That's what I try to do with Word Agent's 7-day guarantee, but now we actually need those 7 days because we just need the time. But
I thought it was like 47 at the minute, man.
No. 7 days.
7's fine.
7 days for 10,000 words.
Okay.
And when we were a little bit smaller, that worked out great because I was getting it down in about 4 days. But that's why we're building a new backend system to speed that up. So we'll see.
Cool.
First world problems growing too fast, Ben.
Yeah.
No one has any sympathy for you in the audience. You grew too
I
quickly.
know. First of all, problems when you buy a 55-gallon drum of baby oil and you can't use it up in the first year.
All right, I think we're at 3% at this point.
Okay.
I think we did
it. Next to the news, someone noticed they must have been searching for The Last Jedi or something, and there was a poll. Are you planning to see Star Wars The Last Jedi? And you can vote no, yes, or not sure.
a poll on Google.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. And
Yeah, so thanks to Tom Blackshear for sending that one in.
So what's Google actually doing with that data? Are they selling it?
They must be. Well, and they know to show you if you're planning to see it, then they can show you ads on their content network for Last Jedi merchandise, tickets.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It could be
show
like
you notifications on your Android phone. Oh, this cinema has a screening. Do you want to book now? Everything they can do.
A feedback campaign for the production company, so they can get marketing data. I don't really mind this. I mean, do you think this is anything to be concerned about?
Whenever they do stuff like this, they make it available in AdWords. So I thought it might be something that could be a super cool, because people are spending a lot of money building like fancy landing page surveys and funnel surveys. So you drive people from some stupid ad with a question. They have to click the ad. They have to go to your landing page. Then you ask them the questions on your site. I think if they add this kind of thing to AdWords and you can survey people and then retarget them based on the results of your survey to all in AdWords, that would be a super exciting feature. So I don't know if any AdWords experts who use it a lot, because we're not big AdWords users. I don't know if any of the heavy users have got preview access or anything. If anyone does, let us know. It'd be super cool to hear more about this feature, because it looks.
Imagine if they have like a Survey Monkey clone in AdWords where it's just like another feature, like run your survey and then
that would be amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Build your own data within the AdWords platform and then retarget that. That would be awesome.
That would get me back to AdWords, because we've got a couple of survey campaigns we're going to be running for marketing, both for ourselves and for a client. And we would totally do it straight in AdWords rather than go through the whole hassle of Facebook ads, send them to the service.
And the survey campaigns themselves would probably be dirt cheap, just to get the data itself, and then once you have that data and the
well, you know,
actual
Google's keeping the data too, so it's like a double win for everyone.
yeah.
You know, I don't necessarily seeing this really impacting our organic search from an SEO person.
Well, it's more space at the top taken up.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they're just going to vote and then scroll down anyways.
Yeah, but they can scale this to product search.
Well, I don't know what happens when you click vote. Maybe you get taken somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Or just imagine like tell us your top which computer company in this list is your favorite. And
it takes you to Dell or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I couldn't get this to show up for me, so I was unable to test it, which was disappointing.
Did he say what his query was?
Yeah, he didn't know. I guess you can find the tweet and ask him.
Or the survey could be feature based too, like
yeah, when I type
which
in
of these features.
yeah, so I got it. I'll take. Can I share? Anyway, I typed in The Last Jedi. The first thing is show times, and then Google News, and there's one organic result for Wikipedia already, and then underneath that, that's where the survey is.
So just hit not sure and then vote and see if it takes you somewhere.
Well, I am not sure. Nope, it just shows you the results of the
Yeah, just the results. That's it, and you can share it on social media.
Cool. Yeah, I'd love to use that as an AdWords feature. Please be rolling that out quickly, Google. I know the 40 of you are still watching, so please get that available soon. And
I clicked the feedback thing. The data you provide helps improve Google search. Learn more. For a legal issue, please make a legal removal request.
The data you provide helps Google to get richer.
Well, they're the same thing.
So that makes this it's kind of unrelated. The legal snippet they have in that. Is this an AI feature that is trying to push more shit for them, where they're not exactly sure, where they might get some weird...
Well, what they're trying to do is understand, from what they already know about you, can they predict your answer to this?
Right.
Are they correct? And that will help them predict other things about you better.
But is this survey...
The same person up. Rory
is this survey AI generated?
Sorry, go on.
Is this survey AI generated?
Who knows? But it's almost certainly.
Because if it was manually approved, I don't foresee them having a legal stink about it.
They put that feedback button on loads of their random rich snippet features and stuff.
Yeah.
You can click that on loads of things.
I'm looking up other movies that are pretty popular in the theaters right now. Jumanji, I didn't get it. Dunkirk, I didn't get it. It might just be for that one.
Mr. Craig said if you go to Google Survey, then go to Google AdWords, go to Audience Manager. I don't use AdWords very often, so I don't know.
So we can't use AdWords at all.
We can't do this. We can't do this now, basically.
Yeah, is that what you're saying, Craig? We can set this up today.
Even if you collected the email off the survey. I don't know. I'm not an AdWords guy, so this is beyond me right now.
Cool. Okay. Well, look at that. That sounds fantastic. Yeah, what I was saying about what Rory Sullivan was saying is with this kind of machine learning stuff, ads and understanding what you might be into, like he was talking about how when in an advertising you have brainstorming and everyone's just free to say anything. So people say stupid ideas like, oh, we should totally advertise to alcoholics on a billboard that's right outside the Alcoholics Anonymous hall where they have a meeting. And we should totally... advertise to gamblers. We should leave flyers for like a $50 deposit bonus outside like Gamblers Anonymous meetings on a table and stuff like that, and then everyone laughs, and because like it would be super amazingly effective. Right. And they're really high value customers. You get a gambling addict back at the tables, you get an alcoholic back drinking your liquor. It's a huge win. They're the best value. Where But humans would never do it because it just seems so disgusting and preposterous. An algorithm like this that understands that it doesn't even know that you're an addicted gambler. It just knows for whatever reason, all the other data they have about you is the same kind of data that an addicted gambler has. So they know that you're a person that probably is going to deposit if they show you all of these gambling ads really aggressively. So without knowing it, they're going to deliberately, AI algorithms are going to automatically learn to target addicted gamblers on purpose, which
That's interesting.
Challenges, which is something humans would never do on purpose, which is kind of an interesting way of thinking.
Kind of reminds me of Fight Club. They went to all the support groups and pulled the craziest people for Project Mayhem.
Craig's sending me all sorts of cool links. Craig, put them in the chat, please. Apparently, this is a big thing that we've just never heard about for the series.
Garrett, you got to tell me when your buddies are in the chat, because Craig is talking about hot dog companies, and I thought he was serious.
Well, tell him to explain his hot dog situation.
We'll talk about hot dogs after the show.
Yeah, I think we should definitely not get off that much off topic. I mean, the 55-gallon drums of baby oil were enough off topic. I think.
Yeah.
If you want to give us a word or phrase of the week, just send them in. You can tweet them at me at SDBrownlee, LIE at the end. You guys, your handles or emails or whatever you want to be contacted on.
At Word Agents on Twitter. But yeah.
There you go. So send us over your, or on Skype if you've got us personally, your word or phrase of the week, and we'll do our best. We can't promise that we'll do as well as this week. I mean, Garrett really hit that 3% this week, but other weeks we may struggle more. So it was just a very smooth topic this week, so it's quite easy to.
Yeah, I like the word this week. What was it last week?
Spurious. That's what reminded Garrett. I said spurious by mistake, and Garrett immediately remembered to jump on the word of the week.
So maybe that should be the game. We the first person to say last week's word is what triggers the new word.
I like it. I like it. Yeah.
Getting complicated.
Anyway, getting back to
so the last thing in the news, somebody ran a test. I haven't seen this guy's blog before either, but looking through today's very technical test that he runs, and the test that we're talking about today is some of the things you know about indexing might not be true.
I don't have this link. What link is this?
Yeah, it's not on the show sheet.
God damn it, Garrett! You're fired.
Don't fire Garrett. Someone else will have to do this work, damn it.
I know.
Sounds like a terrible idea, firing Garrett.
I'll have to actually find news items to include.
After 20 weeks,
yeah, just so you guys, we've reached week number 19. Vin has contributed exactly one news item the entire 19 weeks, just to give you an idea of his.
Anyway, I got the link now. Curious.
Yeah, so he did some cool testing about how Google may or may not be interpreting code versus a browser. It's always been my opinion that Google on their own is going to do what's ever easiest and maybe not necessarily what should be right. So he did a little test where he thought, puppy.
You did what to your dog?
He has a squeaky ball. Anyways, he put some stuff in NoScript, and he was curious. I remember I read this yesterday. Now I want to make sure I'm getting this right. He put some stuff in some NoScript tags where I would think Google would prefer that over something that was an outline JavaScript tag, just because it's an automatic, this should be easier to parse. And so I'll let everyone read through it because I'm probably going to get this wrong. But maybe one of you guys should talk. So he said once. Alright, so once.
Go on,
okay, so once the update was indexed, Google seemed to favor the title and NoScript tags before the potentially head-terminating image tag. so far for over a month. He says no substitutions have happened where they are indexing the JavaScript tag page over the no script. And so then he's trying to go through all the logic steps of what people might counter-argue. And so his next thought is, so what? They just picked what was ever first. And he says, well, that's interesting because that's not how Chrome as a browser or Firefox behaves. They tend to interpret stuff differently, and I don't know, it's really in-depth that I think
this is interesting. I mean, I'm just seeing this for the first time right now, but what I think is maybe these no-script and JavaScript tags are traditionally not abused by SEOs. So maybe they're giving some extra weight in terms of indexing. But,
yeah, I mean, I think a lot of his tests deliberately use things the way they're not intended to be used as well. So the browsers have a rule for how they handle it. Clearly, Google has a different rule. And he's just trying to deduce what Google's logic is behind having a different rule for when they're reading the no script tags within the head. Because you wouldn't normally have the image tag there and things like that. So the browsers have a way of handling what they do when something like that happens that shouldn't be there, and correctly use the right tag depending on whether JavaScript is on or off or not. Whereas Google always picks the same one because other logic, and he's trying to figure out what the other logic is. He's a lot smarter than I am at technical SEO.
Well, it kind of sounds like the order of operations to me. Remember in like middle school, you have like PEMDAS, like that kind of thing, like how things are processed through, I guess the logical process. And if something hits a hiccup here, then it's treated differently. But this is like a tome of a post too. I need some time to absorb this.
Yeah, I've read it 3 times and I don't fully get the full message.
Very, very technical.
Yeah, he's already a smart guy. I met him down at one of the sort of side drinking events that went alongside Brighton SEO. He runs his own conference as well, OHGM Con, which happens if any of you are in the UK around Brighton SEO, should look out for his tweets around Brighton SEO, because he runs a separate conference the day before in London, which no one thinks is real.
Yeah.
Which is why I didn't go. He was like, yeah, no one thinks it's real.
Well, he's the one who advertises as being in a basement with no electricity or something, right?
Yeah.
Well,
so that's something I would go to.
A famous Googler went. I won't say who, but a famous Googler actually turned up and did a talk at OHGM Con. So the big dogs know about it. It's just donks like me that thought it was fake. The legit people were there.
Since you guys read this article a few times, do you think there's any advantages for SEOs to exploit this?
I kind of
I think you'd have to have a really weird reason to want Google to show it, to read a different header tag than your viewers. I mean, I would assume if they looked at you doing it in a manual review, they would consider it manipulative if you were like a Viagra website or something.
Sure.
But I don't imagine for anyone else, it just looks like you've...
I guess so. I've never heard anyone talk about this. So let's just say the odds of you getting a manual review, assuming you did everything by the book.
Well, that's why I used a Viagra site as an example, because they always get manual reviews. Well, not always, but regularly. I don't think anyone else is going to get caught because they broke their header tags in some weird way.
What do you think would happen if you, in your header tag, that wouldn't make... I was going to say, what if you just keyword the shit out of like your title tag and some other stuff? But
I don't know. We need Jared to come on and talk to us for an hour about this and explain it to us next week.
This is Jared territory.
This is well in Jared territory. Whenever I get a question,
because then, if you're a normal person, you're seeing the browser rendered title tag and maybe some other meta shit that looks nice and pretty. that makes you want to click it. But on the other side, the machine sees some really over-optimized bullshit that you may or may not get away with, obviously. But
cool. Well,
yeah.
something to look into. I'm going to read this after the show and get into it.
Anyways, the main topic of the day is traffic leaking, and Vin has volunteered to digress into that area.
Yeah, I mean, well, first off, I got to give a shout out to Mr. Carter, because I think he may have been the person that coined the term traffic leaks, and he put out this website called trafficleaks.com.
I mean, we used to call it spamming forums back in the day.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it sounds so much more legit. We can say it's traffic leak.
Basically, traffic leaking is going ahead and getting targeted traffic from the internet that isn't Google search engines or paid advertising. So basically, you're finding areas of the internet where your target demographic is hanging out and creatively finding a way to extract traffic to your website. I think I mentioned it last week, I'm going to work on a little case study about getting targeted traffic from message boards, because message boards and forums are, kind of seem to have fallen by the wayside in regards to SEO, but there's still plenty of value there to be had. But the basic concept is basically just find online communities. So message boards, Facebook groups, Reddit, subreddits, and similar, and drop your links into those communities in a creative way so you can get lots of traffic coming through that link and eventually get an affiliate sale or a new follower or what have you. So I'm going to be doing a little case study doing that with forums and see how much traffic I can get, and I'm going to see how many links I can get from those forums that will be do follow and kind of move the needle. So what do you guys think? What do you guys do as far as traffic leaks?
We used to do it a lot when we had more of our own sites. Now that we're building our own sites again, I imagine we'll do some fun projects again in the space. I mean, the most recent one I did was, I just legit went to conferences in the space and was interviewing people there and just kind of getting into their communities and then leaking their people across to my site and stuff. Quite often I didn't even have to do the traffic leak myself. Quite often they would post that they'd met me and stuff and linked to my site for me. So it was kind of, that's the most recent stuff I've done, but that was even a few years ago. I mean, when we did the poker stuff, we used to make like crazy videos and combine it with manipulating rankings. And we would always, because the main poker forum, 2+2, is if you just post any kind of link, they're suspicious.
Right.
If you post a link which is a video that is batshit insane and everyone's going, "Oh my god, this is fucking hilarious," then it goes under the radar. But if your video also, if you've spammed at the time, we spammed Dig, so we got a Dig page that was ranking #1 on Google for some obscure. It wasn't obscure, but it was just a certain way of wording the search query to get more information. You were definitely #1 for, and you'd be top 10 for almost every kind of random long tail they might type in by mistake. And we would just say, "Oh yeah, before you watch this video, it's really funny, but you've got to have read what's actually going on first. Quickly jump to Google, type this in, check it out, then hit play again, and you'll get what we're on about." And then we do the kind of comedy video, and that drove like loads of sign-ups and sales for affiliate deals, people into our chat room to talk to us about the bullshit we were doing. Sometimes the people we were ragging on would come into our chat room and try and defend themselves, so like everyone could just insult them for an hour. It was just amazing.
Well, the concept is basically to pique the interest of the people within the community, right?
Without ever looking like you're selling anything. So you can do it two ways. You can do it the way where you just like, you're in the community for ages and then you just start dropping some links to articles that are on sites that you own or sites that link to you or sites that mention your product. And that's a bit more direct and obvious, and you might get caught, you might not, depending on how clever you are. If you go the kind of way we do it and you're just batshit insane, like the Joker of the community, you can just go straight in on post number 3 with some batshit video that everyone laughs at and start driving people straight from that to your site. And obviously, you're also getting loads of people onto your video, getting loads of likes on your video, which is driving it up on the YouTube algorithm as well. So you kind of can get a double. And back then, there was no one watching anything on YouTube. So if you got like a couple of thousand views, you were like popping for the search terms, you know. So
my go-to strategy is just to ask an innocent question, like I'm a newbie that doesn't know anything about the topic. So this works on blog comments. It works on Facebook groups. It works in Facebook comments. It works on message boards. And I'll usually find an existing thread or an existing blog post on a topic that's directly related to my site. And I'll usually go in as like an unassuming mom or female. And I'll be like, hey guys, you know, I'm looking for a 55-gallon drum of baby oil, and I saw.
And everyone starts pasting the Garrett memes back at you in the Minnesota Country Beard.
I saw that, you know, link 1 is selling it for $10, and link 2 is selling it for $15, but they appear to be the exact same product. Is there something I should know about this? And it's innocent as hell, and you know what? A lot of people click those links, and
you'd get deleted on 2+2 for that on an elite community. You're not going to get away with, hey, these two affiliate deals look really similar.
That's what I try to do. I'll usually include 3 to 5 links in my question, and
you'll still get deleted on like
it kind of masks the So I've done it most successfully on blog posts, but that's what I want to do for my little case study. I want to do it for message boards on specific threads directly related to my topic, and I'm going to try like 50 of them and see how many.
I'm going to recommend higher levels of subtlety than that. That's my only recommendation.
Yeah,
I think you'll get a lot deleted if you do that. You'll get away with it on some communities where they're a lot smaller and they're just desperate for people talking about anything, but like 2+2, that would have been an insta delete. Like we wouldn't have got any traffic from doing that because
really?
Why are you posting links to things?
Yeah. Oh, you know, I kind of jumped over. I'll evaluate the community first, and I'll see if they, you know, what their rules are for posting links and things like that. So I'm not just going to go into a community blind. I'm going to learn a little bit about them first. I'm going to build up my profiles on the community for about 2 weeks before I even drop a link. So I'm going to look as legitimate as possible before actually attempting my quote-unquote traffic leak and dropping a link to my site.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, if you need some help with the comedy videos that aren't actually funny, me and Garrett will jump on and help you make some.
And I think when you drop a few...
is a large bottle of whiskey. You start drinking that at about 4 p.m. Then you get on to a case of beer. You have about 4 of those, and then you're ready to start making the video. So you just give us a shout, and we'll get you going.
And from a technical SEO standpoint, I think dropping multiple links in the same niche, there's some power for what do they call it, the co-citational authority?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So
and that's why the article we shared a few weeks ago when I was talking about when you're doing link building and the way we search for places to build the links, we're looking for sites that rank for topics similar to the link bait being promoted. So like just use the example of our PR link bait that we gave the sample links for on our sales thread. Obviously they're all PR sites or sites that cover PR content, because obviously you're getting a lot of co-citation benefit, not just on the page that you get the link from, like, best beginners PR resources that has like 20 of them listed and yours is in there. That's obviously co-citations, but you're part of a broad body of work on their site that's all 100% related. So I think co-citation stuff is super interesting. And I think even in cases where it's a no follow link, it might not pass authority in the same way that a followed link on a new blog post does, or a links page or something. I think on authority forums in a niche, it would be silly of Google not to look at brands that are consistently coming up in discussions alongside each other and use that as part of their machine learning to understand which brands are relevant and stuff like that. So obviously we don't know, they definitely do, but if you were a real brand, you would appear there. So if you're a brand that's trying to break through, then you want to try and engineer appearing there too as part of your broader marketing strategy anyway, because you want to be doing and seen in all the places that real brands that are appearing there organically are doing anyway, because you just replicate the whole picture then across the board.
Well, what's the term for the SEO benefit you get when you have your topical or target keywords very close to the link on the page? Is that also co-citational? I thought that's something else.
I forget the name for that, but yeah. There's that's largely around. That was an update they did around, because what a lot of people were doing was they were buying links on like Forbes and stuff like that, and it would just be randomly in the middle of an article on any old bit of anchor text. The article might be about dogs, and the link is, and it just says dogs have oily skin. And the oily skin links to your Amazon affiliate link for 55-gallon baby or whatever our phrase was.
So if you're really creative with your blog comments or your message board posts, the text itself, you can not only get the traffic that you're leaking from the community, but you can also get an SEO benefit through the co-citational authority and by using your keywords in text, raw text around the links themselves. So yeah, I think it's going to be a winner. I think it's going to be a big winner, actually. And I'm going to write up a little case study on it.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if you don't manage to drive some traffic. I think that could be a nice little case study.
Yeah. But you know what? If you guys are interested in it right now, check out trafficleaks.com. It was put out by C. Carter of Builder Society. And he's got some actionable strategies there, a ton of them, actually. So you can actually get started right now.
And also check out his other site, or her other site, the mysterious C. Carter, moneyoverethics.com.
I forgot about it. That's a good read too.
That's another cool read.
Yeah, so it's time for the infamous Twitter hashtag SEO.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, I didn't do this. You guys.
No, you should jump in now. It's a live.
I was gonna prepare, but I got all bitched at because we gotta do it live.
It's a live feature. We have to find crazy things.
I have to do my weekly Twitter login.
I got Q that logs in for me every day.
I found mine.
Okay, I've got a guy here, Asad Khan, who will on-page SEO any website with the hashtag off-page.
At ads_linksman, you can buy quality DA50 to DA80 links with PA50 to PA80 from $20 or cheaper.
Oh man,
most links from $10.
Fantastic.
Over 8 million web pages.
I've got another one if you're not ready, Vin. This is the most random thing I've ever seen in the SEO tips I'm in this time. My second one. Amanda Lidcombe says, British man responsible for nightclub acid attack is jailed. Hashtag SEO tips. Like, what?
What are you guys looking at, man? I will on-page. Oh, I find it now. I will on-page SEO
SEO tips.
And you go to the latest updates, I guess.
Yeah, the latest updates, yeah.
Google News full RS feed for any keyword. This is nonsense.
Do you know, this SEO tips one, does SEO mean something different?
French soccer star Antoine and Heat for
I saw that one.
SEO tips.
Like, what?
I don't see it. I don't see those. I see.
You gotta go to the latest. You gotta go to the latest feed and not the top feed.
Yeah, that one's under both hashtags. That one's under hashtags. Yeah,
what do you mean? What do you mean? I just typed in hashtag SEO. What else do I have to do?
And then once you get the feed, you got at the top. It's got like top, latest, people.
Oh, there it is.
Just click latest.
SEM Rush has degraded the quality of their Twitter feed for life by sharing a Neil Patel article. Shame on you, SEM Rush.
Yo, Neil Patel's content has become complete shit, right? It's not
just trash now. It's just trash now. He's actually gone full spammer. You know, like we talked about Russell Brunson's new book, Expert Secrets, where he actually tries to explain how you run a webinar properly. And whilst he's not exactly encouraging people to be fully ethical, I would say. He's encouraging people to be a little bit ambitious with their attempts to sell webinars to people despite their not having the full knowledge. If you read his book, you'll see that I'm not exaggerating, that he's encouraging people to do that. Neil Patel straight up has a YouTube campaign going, a LinkedIn video campaign going, where he's just like, this is the easiest way to get money out of people. You just make some bullshit webinar, you take their money. I was like, oh, Jesus. So we can expect a lot of really bad webinars. So hashtag thank you, Neil Patel, and screw you, SEMrush, for retweeting that. That's bad. I normally love the stuff SEMrush share and write about, to be honest. That's why I'm being a bit hard on them, because they're normally...
Here's one. No more stuffing title tags. Hashtag SEO tips. And that's it.
Really?
When was the last time you keyword stuffed?
Did you invent a fucking time machine, too? And it's 2008?
Oh, this is great.
Yeah.
Right.
I can see myself getting into trouble with this segment.
This segment's fun. This segment's super fun. This is the best segment on the show. I mean, there's the more funny ones. All the funny ones are at the top. It's got to be one more good one.
You want to hear a little random thing that'll make you laugh? For the last 3 weeks, our 9-year-old has been telling us that she doesn't have school tomorrow, that they have Friday off. And I asked her today, I'm like, are you sure you don't have school tomorrow? And she's like, no, we do not have school. Okay. I just pulled up the school's calendar and definitely have school. she's been doing this for like 3 weeks. I don't know what's going on, but
she's trying to work herself down to the 4-hour work week in advance, just the 4-hour school week.
I just shared a screenshot. Matt Damon discusses sexual misconduct in Hollywood. Hashtag SEO tips.
It's like, someone tell us, what does SEO tips actually mean to the broader world? Because these don't appear to be SEO tips. I've been tweeting all my SEO tips out on this hashtag, and it's all like rape cases and Matt Damon.
That's funny, man. I didn't know it was that bad.
Yeah, this is insane. I'm gonna scroll like crazy now and see what I can find.
All right. What do we got left? Vin, you're gonna talk about Eat That Frog.
So my review this week is not really an SEO review, but it is relevant to SEOs. I picked up the book Eat That Frog last week, which is all about stopping procrastination and increasing productivity. And as a small business owner, my time is often pretty tight. I don't have time for all the things I wanted to do. So Eat That Frog is a book of 21 different tips to increase your productivity. And I blew through it in like 2 nights. It's 150 pages. And every single strategy that they suggest was kind of like set off light bulbs in my head and got me going and all different kinds of ideas. So I would really recommend it to any SEO, digital marketer, business owner that kind of feels like their 24 hours every day are already spoken for. This book will help you realize that they're not, and you can figure that out and get your time back. And it's a perfect time of the year.
It is 99 pence on a Kindle. So I'm grabbing my copy now.
I got the. I'm pasting a link here. It's not an affiliate link. It's just a raw link. But I got the paperback for $7. It was here, thankfully, to Amazon.
Yeah, but I have it. I have it already now. I've got to wait till Saturday to get my copy.
I'm a book guy that needs an actual book. I can't do it in an e-reader. But
if it's a heavy book, I always buy like I got like Made to Stick in paperback because it's like a bit more serious. But if it's just like a quick tips kind of self-improvement book, I can just mash through that in bed on the Kindle pretty quickly.
I'm a very type A, like logical brain type person, and I'm all about checklists. So the other book I got was the Checklist Manifesto. And that's up next.
Sounds something up my alley. I'll check this.
But this one, Eat That Frog, I'm going to use it to create all my goals my goal setting for 2018 because it's just kind of pure gold. It was just like one of those reads that I felt like.
Did you buy the hardcover or the softcover checklist?
I got the paperback of both books.
It's an extra $4 for the hardcover. Come on.
Eat That Frog.
It's not the kind of book you're going to put on your library, though.
I do.
Yeah.
My library is also small.
It's called Eat That Frog.
Yes.
Well, Eat That Frog is what they're talking about. Is the frog is the hardest thing on your to-do list for the day, and the point is that you should always do the hardest thing first because it's going to be the most valuable to your goal, and it'll get you to your goal the fastest.
See, as someone with Italian blood, I am a big believer in doing the hardest thing on my to-do list, domani.
Domani? What is that?
Tomorrow.
Yeah, they talk a lot about that.
That's his favorite word for when they're going to do things.
It's a great book. I recommend it. I know it's not SEO related, but I think any of us in the digital marketing world will get a shit ton out of it.
Probably read a lot of productivity stuff. Because it's the thing we struggle with the most is we have more ideas than we have time to do them all because there's so many opportunities for us at the minute with the world changing as much as it is. You have these ideas like, I'm going to learn how to make an Alexa skill, and you start coding it, and then you get distracted with something. You have 400 great ideas, and I think that's where most fail is. You've got to put at least 80% of your effort into the main thing that's going to make you money, and just mess around with 20%. Whereas I think when we start out in this industry, I know I definitely did. I bought 20 domains or something in the first 2 months and started trying to do shit on all of them. I had poker sites, Twitch sites, random blogs, comedy shit, just you name it. I had organic whey protein, phone repair. You name it, I was trying to dominate the niche. I didn't know anything about any of them. Just learning all this new coding and shit to make back ends and forums, and it's the main thing we struggle with. I think is productivity and planning properly because we're all very good at coming up with ideas. That's what's got us into this space in the first place, and I definitely wish I'd read more stuff that encouraged me to not be the way I was when I first started 10 years ago.
Sure. I mean, we all got to learn, man. We made it through that first hump. Now we're on our second hump and going for the third.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like I'm already a nut with creating standard operating procedures for just about everything. But this book kind of helps me realize that I need to prioritize which procedures I'm creating and which ones I'm focusing on first to get the most value out of it right now. And it's kind of got that Tim Ferriss 4-hour work week vibe a little bit, but lifestyle design. But this stuff is so actionable. It's like I'm going to put it into use tomorrow.
No, it sounds cool. I mean, I want my dollar back, obviously, if it turns out to be rubbish now. You've really oversold it.
No, I like it. It's
No,
I do about 10 to 15 books a year, and this one is at the top of my list for 2017 so far.
Cool.
I'm pretty far behind in my reading.
Yeah, me too. It's been a tough year. To be honest, though, I got kind of distracted by some business research stuff that the university I went to was putting out, and it was kind of interesting, and I got kind of distracted and ended up going down a kind of rabbit hole, watching a whole load of psychology YouTube videos, 15 hours of Rory Sutherland talking.
Yeah.
And it kind of put a bit of a dent in a couple of months reading by the time I got back on track. So it wasn't a complete waste of time, though. I did, but 28. I'm going to be about March 2018 before I finish my 2017 list, unfortunately.
They actually talk about that in the introduction, that the average person is 100 hours backlogged into their reading material for their trade. Really? And how to kind of siphon through that and decide what's the most important. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like it.
Well, Steve, you want to wrap us up with your Don't Tweet This?
Yeah, so typical year-end stuff. We were going back through, clients that we'd had a long time ago that have left us. And it's not a massive list because, you know, we've only been going since I was a freelancer 10 years ago, so we've only been going 10 years total. You know, and most of our clients renew. We have like a sort of 94% renewal rate. So I was kind of whipping through our list of old clients, just emailing them to reconnect, and looking at what they were up to, how they'd gone since we left. And I got kind of bored because there weren't very many of them. So I started looking at all their competitors and just doing some prospecting that way. And I was just looking at everyone in Ahrefs, and I know Vin had talked about it. You know, we were looking at all these weekly updates we were getting, and there was definitely a dip that everyone had. Not everyone, but lots of people had a little sort of 10, 15, 20, 30, 5, 50. You know, some random dip a couple of months ago when we first started talking about these weekly updates. And then Vin was saying, you know, he's gone back up above where he was. And we noticed, you know, one site we'd been monitoring quite closely also just absolutely blew up like 2 weeks after Vin had made that comment. I've seen this trend through, I looked at maybe, I don't know, over 300 sites when I was doing my prospecting, looking for people to talk to about link building. And a really big percentage, I mean, definitely over a quarter, had the exact same pattern. You know, they were growing, they were doing loads of link building. They had a big dive, and then they just suddenly have come back all around the same time, just in the last 2 weeks. So it's really, really interesting to see it across such a big body of sites, all different niches, all different strategies, different link building companies that they'd been working with, different competitors of ours that we were obviously trying to pinch clients from. So there was no common thread between the people that were affected. There was just a whole bunch of sites in different niches that all just took a dive and then bounced back. So really interesting what part of the algorithm affected that, because I definitely wasn't the links, because like I say, they were all different link strategies, different companies, different types of links they were building.
How about site age? Are they all new sites, old sites? Or
they were trending to, the ones affected were definitely trending towards being slightly newer. I didn't see many sites over, what was the youngest? I think the oldest one I saw affected was 8 years old. So I guess there was no one older than 8 years that I saw out of the 300 that. But it was super interesting. So yeah, I guess it was younger sites. Most of them, I guess, were e-commerce or selling something. There were very few pure authority sites in the sense of being not, you know, like, because most authority sites are like Amazon affiliate sites really, or something similar to that kind of game, or trying to get you to sign up for their ebooks so they can sell you a course, or you know, they were more, you know, they were definitely money making sites of that nature, all of the ones that were affected. But you know, I didn't see any thin content issues. A lot of them didn't have huge numbers of pages, so obviously with 300 of them I didn't have time. Just, you know, I was mostly looking for business, not looking to get an SEO consulting gig fixing their broken sites, so I didn't have time to run them all through SiteLiner or anything like that. But it was just something I wanted to share, that there was the dip that a lot of people saw was real, but it seems to have bounced back. So if you haven't bounced back yet, I guess it'd be interesting to hear from you what you tried to do and what the situation is, so we can try and see who didn't get the recovery that everyone else has seen.
Was the bounce back all at the same time period, or
it was all within a fortnight?
Okay.
It's all within the last 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks roughly. All of them bounced back. And
I actually think Jared saw that too with his site. We were talking about that. That's interesting. What do you think it is?
It was you two's comments about the bounce back. Like, I guess I wouldn't probably have been looking for a trend or noticed it if you both had been talking about that on the show in quite a lot of detail. And then to see it, I saw the first one and I was like, oh wow, that's really similar to what Vin was talking about. And then a couple of sites later I saw it's pretty this is getting to be a trend now. And then I started like a little tally up, just
it's almost like it was getting momentum dropping down before shooting back up, you know?
It's kind of interesting in such a short space of time, like over 2 months. And you would have
like it's just a readjustment of the algorithm as a whole, where they changed something and then realized maybe that wasn't the right change, and then they adjusted it back.
Yeah, I see guys like Matt Diggity say stuff about where it's an artificial sandbox, and they wait for you. I don't necessarily agree with this. They wait for you to change what you're doing, to try to
It's a honeypot. They want to catch you. They want to.
I actually said that on the show a little while ago because I've believed that for a long time. I think if you get a penalty and you're building links, for example, or you're adding, like say you're adding 50 articles a week and building 20 links a month, and you get some kind of penalty and you stop everything, that's a pretty big signal to Google that you believe that you were being manipulative.
Right.
So they can use data on, okay, so sites that look like this one, they can safely feed that into their machine learning as possibly manipulative. And sites that match that footprint going forward, then they can be more suspicious of. And obviously, it's just more and more data for them. You know, how they use that data is down to their super smart PhDs, but it's an obvious data point. Like if you immediately respond to a penalty by being like, "Oh, stop everything, I've been caught." So I think.
So what we're kind of guesstimating right now is that when you post a new piece of content, don't make sure that's optimized properly. Don't over-optimize it when you first post it. Make sure that you're in the 3% keyword density for any word on the page. But then once you post it, don't touch it for 90 to 120 days. And if after that 120-day mark you still aren't getting any traction, even though you're sending links to it, or it's optimized perfectly, then maybe you can start tweaking shit. But it could, you know, that sandbox period could be as long as 120 days at this point. It sucks. You know, it sucks. But you know,
well, it's not a big deal. I mean, you should be working on your next piece of content anyway.
Right.
I mean,
if you're consistently putting out content, once you hit that first 120-day period, then it's just an ongoing cycle.
Garrett did an experiment where he was taking conceptually related articles, and instead of doing one like mega guide on one page, he was breaking it down into like 5 chapters with a homepage, and we tested that on a couple of clients as well, and that worked really, really well. Because normally it would take you, like, you build your mega guide, your 10x piece of content, but it's only on one page, and then it might be a while till you get another 20 pages on your site that are about that topic to build a body of content that's in a silo. If you start just immediately, your first mega guide is a multi-page guide, it seems to rank a lot better than a one-page mega guide really often.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that makes sense when you think, you know, my usual test of how does that affect the users. If a user makes a really long tail search that's only comes up halfway down a 14,000 word mega guide, not that anyone's writing any that long, I guess, but you know what I mean. Like if it's a long way down and they're mashing away at their phone screen for a minute to get to it, it's not very good for the user. Whereas if it's on, if your guide is split up into 8 parts and Google can send them straight to the part that's about the long tail they just searched for a lot of users that might be a better experience too. So that's something to consider if you're trying to do really long guides and you've got a brand new site. So it's going to take you ages to, if you do just 10 mega guides and that's going to take you 3 months, you're only going to have 10 pages on your site. You might want to think about splitting some of those up or taking some of the word count off so that you've got some budget or time capacity to do 4 short posts that you can put further reading, you know, read this additional post and build a body of content, because that's definitely something we've seen works quite well.
Cool.
I mean, obviously in an ideal world you do the mega long one and you also do 40 blog posts about it and build an amazing authority, but you know, in the ideal world with unlimited budgets, it's a different world from what most people are playing. So
yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Well,
that's it, right?
unless you guys have anything to add, I'm ready to get out of here until the new year.
Guys, we hit the 2 hour mark on the dot, man. 2 hours exactly. We got 2 minutes left, but
I think they'll survive without our final 2 minutes of.
Well, we went live a few minutes late, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Close enough.
Well, you've got 24 hours of Garrett soon, so you can roll this few minutes over to that. That'll be fine.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll keep you updated shortly after the new year. Everything should be set in stone by after New Year's for the charity event. 24 hours of SEO should be really good.
January 25th, right?
Yep, January 25th. I'm going to start at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. So that's about 3 p.m. in England. That's the only real other foreign time zone I know. So that should be that should be good enough.
Good one, Gary. All right, guys. Happy holidays.
Yep. Happy holidays. Happy New Year.
We love you.
Yep. Don't forget to smash that like button.
Yeah, I've noticed not enough smashing of that motherfucking like button. So can you guys just really get stuck in there this time, please, for our last show of the year?
Yep. Yeah. Share, subscribe, tell your mom, tell your dad. Do whatever you got to do.
All right, guys.
All right. See you later.
Adios.